Good day and welcome to this webinar. Today we're going to look at the serving of non-alcoholic beverages, tea and coffee. We just want to give a few seconds for everybody to join the webinar. Good day once again and welcome to this webinar. We are going to look at serving non-alcoholic beverages today, tea and coffee. And this presentation is done by Impact. And I want to introduce myself first. My name is Marieke Smit, and I'm the Chief Education Specialist for Services, Subjects and Technology at Impact. I also want to introduce Serena Jordan. She will be assisting me with this lesson. Thank you, Serena, for that. Before we start this webinar, let's just look over a few basic things that you need to know to help you with this webinar. First of all, if you are struggling to hear me, make sure that your audio is on and that your speaker's volume is turned up. You will be automatically muted when joining this session. You can also ask questions via the question box or raise your hand. You will see on your dashboard, there's a hand and you can just click on that icon if you want to ask a question. This presentation can be downloaded from the handout box, and all the information will be available in the question box on your dashboard. And please remember, at the end of this session, send us all your questions and also give feedback for us to improve. So let's get started with this lesson. Before we start with the lesson itself, I just want to remind you about the study notes that you need to refer to, and also the CAPS document to see which content must be covered for this second term. Also, please make use of this webinars to help you and your guided learning platform so that you can ask questions for us to answer if you have any questions about the subject. Then, last but not least, the Facebook pages, please make use of that so that we can help you with the subject. So now we are going to look at the serving of non-alcoholic beverages. Today, we're going to focus only on tea and coffee service. So before we start, we need to look at the sites where these items will be served. So just to remember that, you can do that. I know this is a webinar, but please work with me and do this with your hands. So if you do this, like on the slide, you will see on the left, there's a B, and on your right, there's a D. You can see that, do that to remember it. Then let's say this is the guest sitting at the table. That's the table. The bread and the bowl will be served from the left. So you can see a B there and the B on your hands. So this is the table. So we will serve it from the left. And then if you look at the D there on the right hand and the D there, drinks will be served from your right. So if you understand the serving sides of the drinks and the bowl and the bread, we can go forward with this lesson. So the tea and the coffee will be served from the right of the guest. Then general rules for serving coffee and tea. First of all, when are we taking the order for the coffee or the tea? That will be done after the dessert. And always ask your guests if they prefer hot or cold milk. Then the coffee and the tea will be served anti-clockwise. And I remember it like this. In Afrikaans, we say aunties, and the rule is ladies first. So we're talking about the ladies or the tannies, and anti-clockwise. So then you will never forget that. So it's aunties. In Afrikaans, we praat van tannies of aunties, and the ladies is served first. So just remember anti-clockwise. So we always serve coffee and tea anti-clockwise around the table. Then the rules say that the ladies must be served first and the men and the host last. Then, like we discussed in the previous slides, the coffee and tea must be served from your right-hand side and always offer refills when the cups are nearly empty. Okay, now we're going to look at serving tea. First of all, you need to get some things in place, and that means our mise en place must be done before we can start serving the tea. What does mise en place mean? It means that we must pre-prepare all the apparatus before serving the tea and get everything ready. So what needs to be ready before we serve the tea? We need to start with the tray. So we need to have a tray, then place the teacup, saucers, teaspoon, and doily on it. Fill your milk jugs, your sugar bowls. There must be white sugar, brown sugar, and sweetness. And then you will have 2 teapots, and that's why I highlighted the tea there. So if we're talking about serving tea, there must be 2 teapots. Also said 2 there. So one will be with the tea, and the other one will be with warm water. These days, sometimes they only give you 1 teapot, and then the tea bag is served in a box with the tea pot with warm water. So both ways can be correct. So in other words, the tea tray will look like this before you serve the coffee. We've got the cup and the saucer, the white sugar, brown sugar, and the sweetness with your your sugar spoons. And then you'll have your 2 teapots, 2 teapots, and also your hot or cold milk. It depends on what the guest ordered with the serving of tea. So let's look practically at this serving of tea. Let's pretend this is a table with your 4 guests. And let's say this is the host. Just remember the general guidelines which we talked about earlier. We need to serve anti-clockwise around the table. So if this is the guest of honor, we will go to that side around the table and serve the people that way. So in this case, I'm going to show you to serve the tea only for this one guest on the right hand of the guest of honor. So first of all, from the right hand side, if you remember your hands, the B and the D, we will serve, or we will place the empty cup on the table to the right of the guest with the doily and the teaspoon. Please take note of the teaspoon and where it is. Then after that, you will place the sugar bowls on the table, and also the hot or cold milk. It depends on which one they order. And then your 2 teapots. And then very important is teas. Do you see the 2 teas there? So the guest will then serve themselves. So let's say there was more than one guest ordering tea. So we'll do the same with the next guest and the next guest, and then last the host. But just remember, you will not give everybody their own tea, milk and sugar. So you'll just put that in the middle of the table then, but also depending on the hot and cold milk which they order. So that is serving tea. I think if there's any questions now, we can answer that according to tea service. Is anybody with a question? No one with a question there.
So there's Nomvelo. I'm quickly going to unmute you. You're self-muted, Nomvelo. Can you quickly just unmute yourself?
Can you hear us, Ndlovu?
Ma'am, what is a host?
Okay, the host is the person who normally book the table at the restaurant. So let's say, for example, it's your birthday and you invite your friends, then you will be the hostess of that table. And normally that will also be the person who will pay the bill if they invite other people to the table or to the restaurant.
Okay, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Okay,
Is there any other question?
Another hand? Yes. I'm just quickly gonna unmute. I think Ntu Kozo. Yes, there you go. You can speak. You can ask your question.
I wanted to ask, how do I know that a guest is a guest of honor? Do I just, when I serve my tea, you said we must start with the guest of honor. How do I identify the guest of honor?
Okay, you will not start with the guest of honor. Because that, if this is the guest of honor, I just said that, for example, this is the guest of honor, then you will start from that person's right. So in other words, you will serve this person first. Normally, the guest of honor is the person who ordered or made the booking at the restaurant. Let's say, for example, it's you and your father, your mother, and your brother and sister. Then it will be your father. So let's say it's your father and mother with their friends, and it's your father's birthday. Then normally it will be your father again. But let's say it's your friend and it's your friend's birthday, and they invited you, then it will be that person. So you as a waiter can always see who is the guest of honor, because that person will normally take the lead. If that answers your
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions about tea service? Okay, then I think we will go on here with the coffee service. Okay, just keep in mind the general rules for also serving coffee. In the first place, again, we need to put everything in place and do the mise en place. Like I explained in the first slides, that is the preparation of your apparatus before serving the coffee. So in this case, we need to look at the next things. First of all, your tray. Again, your cup and saucers, teaspoon and doily. Fill your milk jugs. Fill your sugar bowls with white sugar, brown sugar, and sweetness. And then get your coffee pot ready, either with your tray or a side plate with a serviette. So it will look like this. We normally use this because it's very easy to serve in between guests and also very safer to serve the coffee like that. But it also looks very neater than just the tray. But the tray is also fine. So both ways can be used. If you just look quickly at this photo, you will have your milk jugs again there, hot or cold milk. It depends on what the guest ordered. Your empty cup, your sugar bowls, brown sugar, white sugar, and your sweetness with your teaspoons or your sugar spoons, and then your coffee pot. Just remember, this is empty now for the photos, but when you do your pack, there will be obviously coffee or tea in it. And in the homeschool space, we will do role play, so then we will only use the empty cups and coffee pot. So next, to get your coffee pot and side plate ready, I will show you the little flower napkin fold. So if you take a material serviette and you start from the first corner, you will just fold it to the middle of the serviette. So that's the first thing that you need to do. Then you will do the same with the second, the third, and the fourth corner. So it's almost like the quacky things that you did when you were young. So when you're done with that, you will see, but all four corners is in the middle there. Then you turn it around. So in other words, you just turn it upside down. And then you do the same with the first corner, the second corner, third, and fourth corner. Then it will look like that. So now you just need to take the napkin from the bottom, the corner from the bottom, just take it out a little bit like this. So it will form like a flower, and then you will put that on your side plate, and then you will be ready to serve your coffee. So if we look at the table, how we're going to serve coffee. First of all, if this is a guest again, for example, this will also be our guest of honor again. So we will serve this guest on the right, because we need to go anti-clockwise, serving over the right shoulder. We will place the empty cup and doily and teaspoon. Again, just look at the teaspoon there. We will then place the sugar bowls, brown sugar, white sugar, and sweetness next to the guest. And also then hot or cold milk, it depends on what they ordered. And then the waiter will serve the coffee. Just take note of how the coffee is served. So there's your side plate with your coffee pot, and it doesn't leave your side plate. So it's just tilted, and then the coffee is poured into the cup. So yeah, that is serving coffee. So if there's any questions now, we can also answer questions now about coffee service. Is there anybody with a question there for coffee service? Okay, it doesn't seem like that. Also welcome to ask questions afterwards, and then we will answer you. See, there's a question there.
Okay, I'm quickly gonna unmute you. You're self-muted. Can you quickly just unmute yourself again?
Ma'am, according to the coffee, what is a doily?
A doily is just like a paper, let's say a paper that you put underneath, so that can, if the cup spills, then that will absorb it. I will put.
But then what is like the purpose of putting a doily in a cup while like
Because,
serving the tea?
yeah, so if you serve it, let's say you pour the coffee into the cup and it spills a little bit, then it's not like that wet and underneath, and then you can't spill on yourself. So, but it's also to be fancy. Are you on the Impact Facebook hospitality page or not?
I'm not on Facebook at all.
Okay, I will also upload a photo of a doily for you on the guided learning platform with this video. So I will just make a note of that, and then we will show you how it looks exactly. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, pleasure. Is there any other questions? Don't be shy. You can ask questions, please. Just remember, this is also very important for your PAT, and both can be asked in the PAT.
There's a question from Yulanka. Yulanka?
I wanted to ask. Hi. I wanted
Yes, you
to
can ask.
ask, with the serving of the tea and coffee,
Yes.
will you normally serve it with a napkin under your hand, or can you use, what else can you use?
Okay, you will, if I refer you back to that slide, let's go back a little bit. Just remember, everything will always be served with your tray. So it will look like this when you go to the table, if that answers your question. So when you're done with the cups and you place it on the table, then you'll leave your tray and then take the side plate with your napkin here if you serve the coffee, and then we'll just put that, we'll just serve it like that. So does that answer your question?
Okay. Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, so always remember the tray needs to be used for serving coffee and tea. Okay, any other questions?
I see there's one from Nomvelo again. I'm just gonna quickly yourself muted again, Nomvelo. There you go.
Ma'am, when you are serving coffee, must your teapots and everything like be on the table, or like must you bring the tea to the guests and then serve it to them, then take back the tea?
If I understand you correctly, then you ask if we only serve tea, or do you mean when we serve coffee and tea together at one table?
When you serve coffee and tea together, do
Okay.
you like leave the teapot on the what is it called, the cloth, like where you serve it, or do you have to carry like a tray and then serve the coffee and the tea, or like what do you have to do exactly?
Yeah. So if we have different orders at one table, then you will do the same procedure, but you will just put all the empty cups on the table first, and then you will place the sugar and the tea, or the sugar and the milk next to the guests, and then you can go around and serve the coffee. And just remember the general rules first. So ladies first from the right-hand side of the guest, anti-clockwise, and last the host, and then you will serve the tea. So you will do the first one and then you will do the second one. So you won't do both together, but if you are very trained, then you can do that. So just go through the textbook, just go through your textbook, and all these are explained in the textbook. So just go through your textbook and see the whole procedure there for coffee and tea service, if that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay. Is there any other questions?
There's Yulanka again.
Ma'am, what do you do
Yes.
when you don't know the guest honor? Like if the function was planned but it was as a surprise, what do you do then when you don't know the guest of honor, or you don't know who the guest of honor is?
I think you will always know, because even if it's a surprise, someone need to did the booking. So then you will talk to that person, or but normally it will also be a guy.
Okay.
So, but if it's just ladies, then also a lady can also be a hostess.
Okay. Thank you, Miss.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. You're also welcome to answer or to ask questions after the session. So don't be shy to do that. Please ask so that we can help you. Thank you for all the questions, and Serena for your assistance. If you're not registered with Impact, please see the info@impact.co.za email, and you can contact us anytime to assist you. Thank you for joining us today with this webinar, and keep well and don't lock down on your studies. Thank you. Bye.